All right, Big Ten previews here as we get ready for week 6 of the college football season. Big one to start the Big Ten slate is Maryland at Ohio State. That's at noon.
Yeah.
And when we did the Maryland Charlotte game a couple weeks ago, the biggest message that Mike Loxley and his staff and his players and everybody was relaying to us is we feel this is the year that we can compete in the Big Ten with the big boys. And so that means
Right.
going up against Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State and holding your own.
Yeah.
Well, this is your first test to do it. And Maryland played Ohio State well a year ago. It was a close game until Talia Tagovailoa is back, and you feel like you've got all the pieces in place. But Ohio State's coming off a bye week after they're coming off a game in which they really silenced in their mind a lot of the doubters of what their season was going to look like. And Kyle McCord looked really confident in the last couple drives of that game. He just looked much more comfortable in that role. So how do you see this game playing out when you've got a Maryland team trying to prove one thing and you've got an Ohio State team trying to prove something else?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tall task for Maryland, although I agree with Mike Loxley. I think it's now or never for their team, because I think they're a really well-rounded football team. I think defensively they've played at a pretty high level this year. They've got speed and athleticism. I really love their safeties, on their defense. They added some bulk up front through the transfer portal. So I think defensively they're a really good football team. And the reason that you give them a chance is the same reason that we were talking about Notre Dame, because they have Sam Hartman. Maryland has Talia Tagovailoa. And you talk about those three matchups with the big boys in the East. Penn State, new quarterback this year. Ohio State, new quarterback this year. J.J. McCarthy is not a new quarterback, but he's younger. He's still a younger quarterback than Talia. So you got a chance because of his skill and because of his experience. But he's got to go in there and play, at a super high level. They can't turn the ball over. They've got to hold their own in things like special teams, and they can't lose the turnover battle. And then they've got to, they got to try to get after Kyle McCord. And so I think it's an interesting matchup. But Ohio State, as you mentioned, after what they did at Notre Dame, now the bye week, everybody's perspective and idea of Ohio State will be completely different from this part of the season on than it was the first 4 weeks. They won't be questioning, the offense or questioning the quarterback or questioning any of this. I mean, they kind of have arrived now.
Yeah, fascinating matchup to get the slate started. That's at noon on Fox.